regional and national training on biofouling management. And actually what we're planning to do is to localize this and develop our own modules and launch these modules to our maritime schools. Recently, the Philippines, through the Maritime Industry Authority, participated in the demonstration site and international working on biofouling prevention and management for ships in MPAs and PSSAs held last June 6 to 9, 2023 in Galapagos Island, Ecuador. It can also be recalled that the Philippines, through the University of the Philippines Institute of Environmental Science and Meteorology, is doing a project on port and ballast water baseline using ecological, microbiological, and eDNA approaches, or what we call as the Port Tech project. This aims to establish an inventory of microfouling and bacterial communities present and their successions using the PICES collectors, eDNA approaches, and next-generation sequencing for port baseline studies. To date, 2 capacity building activities on port baselining and biology hands-on training have been conducted with agencies from the maritime sector, namely the Maritime Industry Authority, the Philippine Coast Guard, and the Philippine Ports Authority. The project has completed also 2-year water sampling on Port of Manila. 80% of the collected samples were successfully identified, and remaining 20% have been submitted for DNA barcoding. 8 species of the 1,737 species identified have been identified as possible invasive. The concerned government agency is continuously coordinating with the University of the Philippines on the next step to be undertaken for the implementation of the project. To ensure the development of the marine environment protection and energy policies and standards, particularly to the construction and safety of the Philippine registered ships in the domestic and international trade, the Maritime Industry Authority recently has created their Marine Environment Protection Development Service, or the MEPDS, in July 2023. This service unit is responsible to ensure that the authority is strategically and operationally aligned to its mandate and to the strategic directions identified for the Philippine maritime industry, particularly on marine environment protection. Recently also, we have updated our Maritime Industry Development Plan for 2028. And under this, we have a program which we call the Promotion of Marine Environment Protection, and that covers also one of the programs, one of the projects under this program is on the management of biofouling. As what we have previously shared, there are still some of the challenges that we have encountered. Well, of course, first one is the political support. Well, political support is necessary to push for specific policy that addresses biofouling. National legislation is necessary to address biofouling risks. This is there are also overlapping functions and efforts among concerned government agencies, considering lead agencies responsible for IAS and biofouling, which has not been identified yet. But this legislation, through the legislation, this would probably address who among the agencies are responsible on this particular item. There are still need to capacitate our technical personnel on biofouling and other related fields. We need integrated information collection of data information coming from different concerned agencies, need for system at country and regional level to obtain comprehensive baseline information on the extent of IAS in the region, while pathways for transfer of IAS were identified by countries, there is still lack of studies in the Philippines on the extent of IAS. Further study need to be conducted to establish its economic and ecological impacts on specific sector. And there is a need for awareness building and capacity development for better understanding and management response to biofouling issues and concerns for our stakeholders. So given the limited access to data, a more realistic time frame is needed also to complete all these studies, baseline information that we need, and of course the awareness awareness building and capacity building for our technical people. As to our way forward, we expect to complete the National Economic Assessment Report hopefully before the end of the year. Our National Biofouling Management Strategy and Action Plan, we hope to finish the draft of the high-level action plan not later this year. This document will serve as a working, as I mentioned a while ago, this will serve as our working document for the strategy development team, and will then be subject to stakeholders consultation later. Then continuous improvement of our national web page on biofouling in the Marina website for information and dissemination, as well as raising awareness on biofouling management. We intend to conduct the proposed capacity development activities by next year. The training on biofouling management, port and shipyards visit on in-water hull cleaning and biofouling inspection. Training on biofouling management plans and record book, information, education, communication campaign on in-water cleaning and biofouling inspection. And recently, we are collaborating with one of the Scandinavian paint company, Jotun. It's a Norwegian paint company. And they will be assisting us on hull maintenance to address biofouling management, as well as to reduce, as well as to improve ship energy efficiency for our Philippine domestic ships. And of course, to develop a national policy circulars on control measures in water hull cleaning before the end of this year. Next year, I'm sorry, 2024. So that ends our presentation, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mrs. Sonia, and also Captain Ramon for the updates. Now, may I invite delegates for any comment and views? Yes, please. Mrs. Celia from IMO.
if no one else a comment. First of all, congratulations, Philippines. It's great to see the progress achieved, and everything looks so well planned and organized. So I feel very confident that you will be achieving all the targets and delivering all you have to deliver under the project. So that's really great. Just a small question out of curiosity regarding the circular on in-water cleaning, because as you certainly know, and I mentioned it, IMO has decided to revise the IMO biofouling guidelines, but they kept aside the topic of in-water cleaning, and so there will be a correspondence group working on in-water cleaning, and the completion date for that will be 2025. So I was wondering, I'm sure you will be following closely whatever is developed at IMO and looking for compatibility. Of course, it's very, very difficult to understand exactly what will be this IMO guidance that will be developed. But I just wanted to underline this, that those are two exercises that will go in parallel, and that you need to keep an eye on this guidance. But well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lilia.
And if I may
yeah, of course.
make a comment on the concerns. Well, actually, yes, we understand there would be the IMO guidelines on this, but it could maybe help if we could start, because they've been, and it will be subjected to the regulatory impact assessment as part of the policy development and revision process in the Philippines that is now being implemented by the government. So I guess we'll implement as targeted, and then eventually we will align, and definitely maybe we could also contribute in the discussion in the IMO based on the result, if ever will be really successful in implementing such policy next year. So, but bottom line, all our guidelines will be, or policy will be aligned with the IMO guidelines once they are adopted or issued. Thank you.
Thank you from Philippines. And I heard that global testnet. Oh, any more from Philippines? Captain Ramon? No?
No.
Okay, you may, for your next.
So we are getting there with the microphone. Thank you very much, and congratulations for the very nice piece of work. I have just one, actually two comments. The first one is on the in-water cleaning guideline that will be discussed eventually at IMO. Personally, I don't think there is anything wrong starting early, being an initiator. That gives you a lot of learnings that you will be able to share. This morning we're discussing about sharing even regionally. I think you will have a lot to share with the rest of the countries in the region, and then you can always adjust your guidance document over time when IMO takes more stringent decisions. My comment comes to your monitoring of invasive species in your ports and so on. I'm very happy you use eDNA. Personally, it doesn't mean it should not be done in combination with traditional taxonomy. Yeah. However, I believe that there is one thing that must be discussed at the regional level, or you should think a little bit about at the regional level, because depending which primers you are going to use, database you are going to use to benchmark your results, you may end up with results that do not look exactly the same. All right, so you may miss species using a certain database compared to using another database. And considering that you want to have data that are comparable as much as possible with colleagues from other countries, I think this is something that your scientists or the companies you are using for doing those kind of studies actually should kind of have guidance on, at least be able to share information on which are the database that we have been using, because those, you can reuse the data extracted from new generation sequencing and then benchmark that against different database, right? So at least having a clear information on which database, which primers have been used during the studies, that helps other countries to basically generate data that are comparable. And that's very important for the ballast water. If you want to work toward, for example, an exemption studies for vessels between ports, but that will eventually become the same for same risk area and so on for biofouling in the long term, I will believe. So that will, it's just an idea that I launched in the air. I think that that could be something important for the scientists to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Global Testnet. Well, from Philippines, you have to
Yeah, thank you very
comment.
much for the comment, Mr. Chair. Yeah, for the in-water cleaning, the reason why we are, doing this formulation of policies on this and integrating already, or integrating the biofouling management, because there are already services or companies who are approaching us for accreditation on in-water cleaning, particularly at ports and at anchorage. They're doing hull water, in-water cleaning. So we're trying our best to study and come up with a positive policies on how we will be able to, first is, well, of course, accrediting this kind of service, and well, of course, integrating also biofouling management on this. So hopefully, with the help of IMO, we'll be able to have that guidance soon, so that we could immediately implement it in our domestic setting. Now, on the biofoul, on the ballast water management or the invasive species inventory, well, the University of the Philippines and the Maritime Industry Authority will be culminating this project by probably end of this year, and coming up with the inventory. The purpose of this project is actually for our domestic. If it's possible to implement ballast water management system in our domestic setting, domestic shipping, and try to find out if different regions or different islands have similar or same risks of invasive species. So the University of the Philippines will be coming up with their recommendation by the end of this year. Hopefully, once we already have the final report, we could also share it with you. And of course, once we already have that inventory, we could also share it with other regions, so that we'll determine whether we also have the same risks when it comes to invasive species. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Captain Ramon. And once again, is there any more comment? Yes, Thailand, please.
Actually, it's not comment, but just ask Philippines for the action in the future that you plan to do. From my knowledge, if I'm not wrong, right now, just really United States and New Zealand, they have request the ships visit their port to maintain the house cleaning and kind of the record of this biofouling. So in the future or near future, will your Philippines make that requirement for the ship visit on the Philippines port? Because if you see the guideline, even the revision one still be there. The house cleaning it start from the design, but we focus on the record book and the plan, the biofouling management plan. This is that on the focus of the Philippines.
Thank you, Thailand. Is there any comment from Philippines, please?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Well, the Philippines still studying on this, but we're trying to come up with, we already have an advisory on hull cleaning. And first step is actually is to accredit this type of services in the Philippines, the hull cleaning services in the Philippines. So later on, while we are still studying this, probably we could already adopt the guidelines coming from IMO. So hopefully this will be done by next year or by 2025.
If
Oh, yeah.
I may add, I think the question is whether we will be requiring it as a mandatory requirement. So maybe initially, as guidelines are non-mandatory, this will be subject to a further study. Unlike what is being implemented now by New Zealand and is it Australia? They are really requiring ships coming into their ports to have this. But for the Philippines, we cannot say as of now that we'll make this mandatory, but we'll subject this to further study. If we found out that there are really this invasive aquatic species that would be high risk to our the Philippine biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippines. Well, distinguished delegates, is there any more question or comment? I see none. Anyway, I would like to inform you that actually the next item will be coffee breaks, but so sorry, I'm sure that the rawon soup still dancing in our stomach. So if you don't mind, the coffee break will serve direct on the table, so we can go for the next item. Otherwise, also we will have our spelling time. As you know that this hotel is located among of shopping center. So if we have enough time before we are going to dinner, you can go to that shopping center. You may find kind of batik. We have Indonesian traditional clothes. So after this, you can wear on our gala dinner. Anyway, if you don't mind, let us continue for our agenda, but please MC us to serve the coffee and the snack on the table. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. All the team from Sheraton Hotels, may we please to serve the coffee or tea direct on the table. And we should continue the session. I will arrange it to all the delegates here, sir. Chairman, the session is yours.
Thank you, MC. We're waiting for the coffee, of course. Distinguished delegates, now we are coming to next agenda. There will be presentation of updates by Indonesia as lead partner country. Let us invite Dr. Muhammad Rianto, National Consultant to DGST from IPB University, to present the status of activities in Indonesia as one of the two lead partner country of the Biofouling project in the region. Dr. Rianto, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity. Distinguished Directorate General Sea Transportation and all of Indonesian team, distinguished delegates from IMO, Dr. Lilia, Ernesta, and Jospin, and distinguished from PEMC, Amy, and team, and all delegates and strategic partners. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Rianto, national consultant from IBB University. Today, I would like to present my study about the National Rapid Economic Assessment on Biofouling Management and Aquatic Invasive Species of Indonesia. This project is supported by IMO and PEMC through the Biofouling Partnership Project. As we know that biofouling is a global problem in the maritime industry. Biofouling is an accumulation of growth from marine organisms that live attached to materials submerged by seawater. The accumulation of sustainable biofouling can cause economic and operational problems, especially in marine transportation and infrastructure at the sea. In the sea transportation, biofouling often builds up on ship, slowing them down by up to 40% and increasing of fuel consumption until 30%. Biofouling allows invasive marine species to hitch rest on the outer part of marine mobile structure, such as ship, to new habitat outside their natural range. The economic effect of biofouling and invasive aquatic species on Indonesia maritime industries have not yet assessed. The Biofouling Partnership has developed guides to help lead partnering countries implement legal, policy, and institutional arrangement to address biofouling and marine bioinvasion issues and support national implementation of the IMO biofouling guidelines. This study aims to conduct economic assessment using the Handbook for Rapid National Economic Assessment published by Biofouling Partnership Project. To support the national economic assessment, data and information regarding biofouling and invasive aquatic species was collected by literature study and also from national status assessment that conducted by Prof. Ketut last year and our previous port biological baseline survey research that conducted on 2019, 2021, and now we are still on progress on 2023. In 2019, studies were conducted in 6 ports, including Batam, Jakarta, Surabaya, Makassar, Medan, and Bitung, to study on invasive aquatic species in the waters surrounding the ports. Several ports in Indonesia are justified as having introduced aquatic species due to the discovery of bivalve species. In 2021, PBS was conducted in 8 ports of Malacca Straits. The species identification using ADNA analysis that revealed that the presence of several invasive and potentially invasive introduced mollusk species in several Malacca Strait ports. This year, 2023, we still on progress for port baseline survey in the eastern part of Indonesia. So finally, we have only all the Indonesian area to conducting the PBBS. The detail of PBBS, biofouling, and IAS research will be presented by Ms. Dea Lestari for tomorrow presentation. The project activity was carried out an economic assessment of economic costs and benefit related to the implementation of the IMO biofouling guidelines in Indonesia. The activity as follows: brief description of national industry, brief description of other marine ecosystem services, an estimation of the costs and consideration of other potential socio-economic aspects, brief description of assumptions and uncertainties related to the estimation, and a summary of policymaker with conclusion and recommendation. We use the IMO guideline for National Rapid Economic Assistance with this kind of step that we conducting for this research. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, based on the research, we conducted 7 national industries in Indonesia that are affected by biofouling and invasive aquatic species, including shipping, ports and marinas, aquaculture, fishing, offshore mining, recreational boating, tourism, and recreational. Details about the influence of the biofouling on each industry are explained on this slide. For the shipping industry, the sea transportation industry has been significantly developed in Indonesia. Based on the data in 2020, the number of companies that had business permits for shipping industry around 3,300 companies, and increased about 4% from 2019. The sea transportation business in Indonesia is divided into several types of ship, including tugboat, barge, cargo, passenger, landing craft, tanker, container, and others. And based on the data, we can see that in this picture that tugboat and barge is dominated for the shipping industry. Indonesia shipping business has a lot of room to grow because of the water are used by shipping going from west to the east and vice versa. Based on the research by Hull 2015, they have found Pernaperidis or green mussel in Ambon Bay in the eastern part of Indonesia, which is outside of the mussel native area. They also found live specimen on the hull of the 2 passenger ferries that regularly travel from west to east across the country. As you can see in the screen, there's routes of Tidar and Kalimutu ship that sailing across from west to the east. And there are also additional charges due to biofouling as well as increasing fuel price, which are all key economics considerations that are required because of biofouling. Biofouling can reduce ship speed by 40%, resulting on 30% increase in fuel usage. We assess the potential impact of biofouling and IAS based on impact cost without policy in the shipping industry with cost component of additional fuel. Additional fuel and greenhouse gas emission and other economic costs. The total cost for impact without policy was 1,800 million USD. And for impact cost with policy, we calculated for the cost for planning, monitoring, training, and operational anti-fouling and maintenance. With total cost, we calculated 550 million USD. The gap between without and with policy was 1,300 million USD. And for the port and marinas industry, this graph showed the number of general port and fishing port in Indonesia. Port and marinas industry will be affected by the presence of biofouling and IAS, both operationally and infrastructure. Ship hulls and ballast water operate as a proxy for barnacle dispersion in their larval stage from one harbor to another, and potential influencing the barnacle communities of those 2 ports. Yeah. From the example, this is a picture for biofouling that were found in Ketapang Ferry Port, Banyuwangi, and also Gilimanuk Ferry Ports. They are similar biofouling species that found in these 2 ferry ports. And for the potential impact of biofouling and IS on port and marinas industry, we calculated based on the port support vessel, port infrastructure, port operation, and potential income. The total cost impact without policy was 1,000 200 million USD, and total cost with policy was 990 million USD. The gap between without and with policy was 218 million USD. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the aquaculture system, in the aquaculture industry, particularly in marine aquaculture, has significant potential, but its utilization rate is still minimal, only 2.28% of the total potential. So biofouling and IIS are growing issues in Indonesia aquaculture, with Vibrio alginoloticus and Vibrio nitricans being the most active biofouling bacteria in Indonesia. The study also found strong influence of microhabitat types, seasons, nutrition, availability, and coral reef biofilm. So biofouling in floating cage negatively impacts on the nets, operational costs, and fish health. As you can see in this picture, this is the problem of biofouling in aquaculture. Yeah, the over-cleaning can damage nets, increasing costs, and cause stress of fish. Over-cleaning can cause heavy nets, difficulty in cleaning, and disrupt fish growth due to oxygen obstruction. The biofouling in floating net cage example in Lampung, Indonesia consists of 5 microalgae, mollusks, and sponge. And after 8 weeks, the composition increasing the number of the biofouling. This similar research on the North Sulawesi aquaculture activities. And for the component costs for aquaculture are support vessel and cost production and cost infrastructure, management planning and cost prevention strategies. The total cost impact without policy around 787 million USD, whether the cost with policy around 390 millions. It means the gap between without and with policy was 390 million USD. For the fishing sector, Indonesia capture fisheries industry has significant potential with an estimated annual fish resources around 12 million tons. The country manages its fisheries management area, 11 fisheries management area with a total of fishing port that above 330 gross ton is around 6,400 fishing vessels. And biofouling and invasive species pose a significant threats to Indonesian fisheries activity, affecting ship operation and fish resources. Biofouling can increase fuel consumption and also sailing time if the ship operates it in normal continuous rating. Fouling organisms contribute the most invasive species introduction with biofouling technique from the bow to the stern of the ship. This kind of example, the thickness of biofouling at ship hull for the fishing vessel. Yeah, for fishing sector, component costs are infrastructure, including fuel consumption, greenhouse gas emission, loss revenue, and also impact on landing catch. The total cost with policy around 750 million USD, gap between without and with policy calculated 418 million USD. For offshore mining industry, Indonesia has various geological basins that hold significant oil and gas potential. Indonesia has 60 sedimentary basins, and in Western Indonesia accounts for 75% of exploration and production. Indonesia has 634 offshore platforms. And biofouling and IIS threats significantly threaten platform infrastructure maintenance, potentially endangering the industry of infrastructure. This picture shows the biofouling at oil and gas platform at North Beach, West Java. So there are so many biofouling attached in the infrastructure. And total cost for offshore mining impact without policy calculated 200 million USD, and total cost with policy around 144 million USD. The gap between without and with policy around 65 million USD. And for recreational boating industry, Indonesia is a beautiful maritime country. Many tourists are visiting to enjoy the natural beauty of the sea using boats, such as pinisi, catamaran, and trimaran. This is the number of pinisi, trimaran, and catamaran in Indonesia. And Indonesia's ship route has become a popular tourist destination. For example, Bali and Labuan Bajo have seen an increasing the passenger number on each year. This is the number of cruise and the ship passenger, the increasing on every year. The recreational boating industry in Indonesia faces threats from the biofouling and IAS, impacting operational and maintenance costs. This could lead to revenue loss. However, effective management of these issues can control the threats. So for recreational boating, we calculate the total cost without policy is 305 million USD, and the cost with policy is 188 million USD. So there is gap between around 116 million USD. Ladies and gentlemen, the threat of biofouling and IAS will significantly affect the tourism and recreational industry because there will be additional costs in maintaining and the location of or area from biofouling and IAS. In addition, IAS can threaten the potential of existing biological resource around tourist sites. Yeah, this is our component costs are for lost revenue and beach cleanup. The gap between costs with and without and with policy around 0.12 million USD. So, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, based on the summary of the cost estimation of 7 maritime industries, the highest estimated cost due to biofouling is in the shipping industry sector and port and marinas. With the policy, will reduce costs by around 70% and 20%. The estimated cost without policy is 5,153, and with policy calculated 2,607 million USD with policy. And the benefit of biofouling policy is 2,547 million USD or 51% the cost without policy. So this is more lower than with policy, without policy. And this is the estimated cost, economic payoff for with assumed 2% of discount rates for 10 years. We calculate the net present value of this study, 154,719 million USD. And this graph shows the dynamic change without and with policy in discount rates 2%. And estimated cost, estimated economic payoff assume a 6% discount rate for 10 years. We calculated the NPV as around 137 million USD. And the gross benefit of the biofouling policy over 10 years with 2% discount rate amount 25 million USD, and for 6% amount 21 million USD. Total cost biofouling policy for 10 years with 2% discount rates about 286 million USD, and for 6% about 276 million USD. Now, to run this biofouling management in Indonesia requires support from all relevant parties, including several ministry and institutions, the Directorate General Sea Transportation of Indonesia and the Maritime Administration of IMO will coordinate the implementation of this biofouling management in Indonesia. As you can see in this picture that many parties may be involved, including the shipping industry. And to implement the biofouling related national policy, several activities and financing plans are required. As the national focal point for biofouling management in Indonesia, the DGST initiated several initiatives from 2019 until 2022. And now still on the progress, national economic assessment, this is the final draft. Last week just revised by John from IMO, and then for National Strategic and Action Plan is still on progress. And biofouling management implementation planning will be conducted starting from 2023 to 2032. And this is the estimating cost in the strategy development phase. The activities for the implementation phase is national task force meeting and the development of national strategy and regulation. The estimated cost per year is 14.8 million USD, with the total for 4 years is 60 million USD. And this is for estimating cost of the implementation phase. The category for activities is national task force meeting, approval of national biofouling regime, communication, training, monitoring, and risk assessment. Cost per year calculated 335 million USD, and the total for 6 years is 212 million USD. Yes, finally we are in conclusion. Our conclusion is the biofouling has an economic and operational impact on maritime industry sector such as shipping, port and marinas, fishing, aquaculture, offshore mining, recreational boating, and tourism and recreational. The highest estimated cost due to biofouling is in the shipping industry sector. With policy will reduce costs around 70% and 22%. The benefit of biofouling policy is 2,500 million USD or 50% of the cost without policy. The gross benefit of biofouling policy over 10 years with 2% discount rates amounts of 25 million USD, and for 6% is 21 million USD. Total cost, biofouling policy for 10 years for 2% discount rates around 288 million USD, for 6% about 276 million USD. Biofouling management in Indonesia requires the support of all relevant parties, including several Indonesian ministries and institutions. In financing biofouling management, activities are conducted in 2 phases: strategy development and implementation for 10 years from 2023 to 2032. The estimated cost for strategy development is 60 million USD, and the cost for implementation is 212 million USD. Yes, I think, finally, very much thank you again for IMO and PEMC through Global Fouling Partnership Project for this support for this study. And thank you for your kind attention. Return back to Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rianto, for your comprehensive updates. Well, now we are going to invite all of the delegates. Is there any particular comment from Dr. Rianto presentation. Please raise your hand, I mean. I see no comment. Is there any clarification from Vietnam, please?
You mentioned about the cost for developing the strategy. So we would like to know the budget. What is the budget? And the budget come from the government or come from the outside?
Okay.
Dorianta, you may
Yes.
go, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your question. In this study, we still calculating how many costs that we use for the implementation of the national strategy. For who will give the budget, I think we will discuss with the DGST, of course, Indonesian, and support maybe from the others institution, I think, because I think big amounts if we will conducting this policy. Thank you.
Because as you mentioned in the table, some meetings were held in 2022 already. So many meetings, and you also give a total number of money. So we wonder, so where you take it?
Yeah. For the 2019 until 2023, of course, from DGST budget. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's for this question. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we will have another discussion for this budget, yeah? Okay, thank you from Vietnam. But now let us invite...
And, sorry, so we also would like to have a presentation from the Philippines and also Indonesia about this meeting. So because we find in the link for documents, no presentation from your countries. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Vietnam. And I see from TAS Global.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Rianto. I have a question. You were giving numbers about all these microbe biofoulings and the species, but did you find out how many percentage of the studies that you've done were invasive?
Yeah, we have conducting several PBBS research on 2019 and 2014. The majority is not invasive species, but introduced species. Yeah, so maybe tomorrow Ms. Dea will be more detail on the how many percent that invasive and introduced species. But actually, we just for the same rest area between Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore, we already mentioned about species targeted. We divided, we choose 7 targeted species for the same rest area between Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. But tomorrow meeting, Ms. Dea will be more detail on the how many the species that we found using the ADN analysis. Thank you.
Well, now let us invite Ms. Celia from IMO, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, Dr. Rianto, congratulations for the study, which is, I find it very interesting. And while I was listening to you, I thought that, you know, you demonstrated very well what we were discussing this morning, about the impact of invasive aquatic species on blue economy and all these industries. So with this exercise, you costed the impact. So that talks, you know. So thank you very much for that. Just perhaps a clarification. You know, I'm a project manager, so I'm project focused. I just wanted to understand if the strategy development, because on your slide you were mentioning that the strategy development, so phase 1, would be between 2023 and 2026, correct? So I just wanted to ask you if you envisaged that the national strategy that your country needs to develop under biofouling was going to extend after the project ends. That's what your slide means? So does it mean that you will need more time to develop?
Yes, yes. I think it just because our study is starting from 2022. So we think about starting from 23. But if the starting from 2024, I think it means more longer time. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Lydia, and also Dr. Rianto for the presentation. And I thought that there is no more comments or other question. I see none. Well, distinguished delegates, since there is no comment, let us move on the next agenda item. For this item, we will focus on initiative of WIMA. But, but before this, there will be 2 minutes video introduction by Dr. Lilia. So please, the video.
By engaging women together, using their talent and their way of thinking, I think they will come up with innovative solutions.
This workshop, we had 18 countries, 2 female representatives from each. We had the chance to develop expertise, share knowledge, and expose the ongoing efforts of women in the maritime field.
Moi, en tant que première femme pilote maritime à Djibouti, je peux vous témoigner que la présence des femmes, ou je peux vous assurer que la présence des femmes dans ce domaine est très essentielle et c'est vital, c'est vital pour l'économie aussi. Et donc on peut se dire que oui, aujourd'hui, moi en tant que femme, j'ai participé à l'économie de mon pays.
very nice video as well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me introduce Ms. Dodi, Chair of WIMA Surabaya Chapter, to present WIMA initiative in Indonesia. Ms. Dodi, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, distinguished delegates. Good afternoon, Sugeng Siang in Javanese language. Very most welcome from Surabaya. First of all, we would like to thank you for providing us opportunity to introduce Women in Maritime Indonesia, especially Chapter Surabaya, what we already done for the last 8 years. And we just celebrate our birthday for 2 days ago, 18 September.
Wow, happy birthday.
Happy birthday for WIMA Indonesia. So because this agenda concern about environmental preservation, so that's why we focus the activities on environmental preservation. This is myself. I've been chair lady for WIMA since 2015 until now, and chair lady for Asian Port Association 2015 until 2017. This is Miss Typo, and I had previous assignment in my company, and the latest appointment is engineering director for Pelindo Terminal Peti Kemas. Voila. With the management of WIMA Indonesia, we were established 8 years ago, 18 September, and look at the faces. We are coming from different background, from legal advocacy, from shipping, from port, from Ministry of Transport, from financial, and also from private sector. So we are coming from different background and various sector. Our vision is an organization that become an equal partner with other Indonesian maritime stakeholder, and we have 4 pillars as mission, which are to rebuild maritime culture in Indonesia, to increase professionalism of women role in maritime industry and service in order to make Indonesia as a maritime country. The third mission, to give education to society regarding maritime sector. And the last mission is to empower the family and the wife of sailor. So we have balance for this mission. This is our activities. We consist of 5 big cluster of activities. But today we will focus on environmental awareness. But for scanning, some activities, women empowerment, we had webinar for maritime leadership. Then for advocacy, we had legal advocacy for women sailor. And environmental awareness, I will mention later on. For national and international networking, we have collaboration with national and also international networking. We have some webinar together, as we might know for the last 2 years. We had COVID problems, so everything online. And the last cluster, we also provide awards and recognition. If we talk about environmental preservation, we map into 4 big pillars. This is the challenge that we must face. The first from shipping side, which consists of oil spill, emission of pollutant, ballast water, waste disposal. And if we move to second cluster of challenge, is concerned about marine protected areas, such as ecosystem preservation, overfishing, and also shipping traffic. The third cluster, this is what all the global also concern is about climate change. For example, the rising water temperature, acidification, and also conservation. The last cluster is about regulatory compliance, which consists of national and international regulation. This is the activities of WIMA. We start from 2018 that we had collaboration with local communities for mangrove conservation. As you might see on the pictures, because pictures say more than 1,000 words, that's why we put more pictures in this presentation. We can see that we were hand in hand with local communities and also with military to have collaboration in conservation forests. And in 2019, we also had coastal cleanup collaboration with circulation, and we select locations that experience significant impacts. Today, we talk about impacts. That's why we select the location which has more impact from this collaboration. We also had coral reef planting in Bunaken 2019. You can see we had female divers. This is WIMA divers, and one of them is Dahlia. She is here. She is certified divers, and all of them are certified divers. We had the coral reef planting and also monitoring for the next 2 years after 2019. So we didn't only plant one time, but we also did the monitoring, how it became after 2 years. The next, we had collaboration with alumni Swedia and also maritime youth in 4 destinations, super priority of tourism. As we might know, there are 4 super priority tourist destinations that we must maintain the cleanliness of the beach. The series, we clean the sea and then we distribute the plastic that we got. Not only plastic, we got also other material, glasses, chemical and others materials. We categorize into 4 different types to have further follow-up of action. This is the monitoring of Bunaken 2021. We can see there are different. The coral grew very nice, and then the species, including fish, invertebrate, and other sea creatures. This activity helps to protect biodiversity and sensitive ecosystem. Not only the sea, we also conserve the turtle. We had activities in 2019 2022 in Bali, we support the preservation and sustainability of sea turtle population and marine ecosystem as a whole. We also collaborate with Pelindo, so we try to collaborate with more stakeholders to articulate what the WIBA aspiration and vision. This is activities in 2022, the conservation continuing in Bunaken, and we also had the garbage waste processing in Bali 2022, and the spot was recognized by international institution also because the impact is very significant. They involve all the communities, the local people, how they have to divide the garbage into some criteria. And in Bali, especially in Bali, they have some ritual processing that needs leaves and flowers, so they can have waste processing after the ritual process, and they can make commercial value after this process. So I think this is aligned with what the professor or doctor from IPP mentioned, that we can commercialize the waste. Yeah, it's not the waste, but if we can think the value of the waste, we can make it commercial. This year we had commemorate of World Seafarers Day last June by cleaning beaches, and we also use plugging. By walking, we pick up the garbage. I think it's coming from Sweden, the plugging activities to preserve biodiversity also in coastal ecosystem. Then we also have the donation of wearable clothes. As we might know, clothes is the most contributor of garbage. Yeah, the ladies or women are closely related with clothes, so that's why we also have concern how to have sustainable fashion by especially for longer wearable clothes, or for reworks our clothes, or for reuse our clothes by distributing to other community which need our clothes. Last in 2023, we had podcasts. So we try to have more channel of communication. We have webinar, activity, physical, awareness, capacity building, and also a webinar, collaboration with Octopus Indonesia, how to have environmentally friendly behavior from small things. We don't need to think, jump into the big things, but we can start from the small things in our daily life. So that's why we try to have awareness to our employee, to women, how to preserve environmental by behavior daily. Thank you very much. I hope this can distribute the information of WIMA, Women in Maritime in Indonesia, and we would like to invite to other WIMA, perhaps in this room, to share perhaps to have share experience about WIMA. Thank you, Chair.
Well, thank you, Ms. Doti, for your presentation. And are there any particular comments from the floor? Please, the time for you, all of. Well, again, if there is no more comment, there will be from Dr. Ili. But before this, Professor, yeah, but let us, gentlemen first, right? Not lady first. Yeah. Okay, Professor.
Thank you,
Ketut,
Mr.
please.
Chairman. Very interesting, Budati. I know from the first page that if you've been lecturer in Industrial Engineering Department at ITS. Yeah?
Yes, lecturer, yes.
I mean, did you graduate from ITS actually?
From
What
ITB.
year?
From ITB.
Oh, from ITB.
I graduate from ITB.
Okay.
And my master with from Sweden. So we have Ibu Sonia and Pak Raymond, our colleagues in WMU Sweden.
Okay, thank you. Your activity are very interesting and a lot. Yeah, including cleaning the beach and so on and some others. I wonder if we might actually get in touch with colleagues and students in university with strong maritime base like ITS, Diponegoro, UI, Unhas, and then maybe this association maybe can work more than, yeah. I just asked some of my colleagues, a lady lecturer, they don't know about WIMA, something new, yeah. But then there's a message from Pak Triwilaswandio, perhaps you know him already, but not the lady lecturer, yeah. So if I can beg you, could you introduce WIMA to university community? Perhaps we can work a lot, including with the biofouling issue. Thank you.
My pleasure, Pak. Most welcome. Actually, we plan to have collaboration with academician, as I mentioned previously, in Clean Beach Up. In Sorong, we collaborate with Poltekpel Sorong. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And now, Ms. Doti, you know that men is always support women, right? That's why.
Thank you.
So because the speaker is women, that's why I asked Professor first before the women. Okay, now, Ms. Leah first, or? Yeah, I think Ms. Leah, your time now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry to take again the floor, but I wanted to congratulate you. I was very impressed to see all the activities you have undertaken to protect the environment and biodiversity, coastal biodiversity. It's amazing, and it's an evidence that women must be part of the effort, must contribute, because we see the result, and not only to implement activities, but also in terms of decision making. It is very important, and for me it's really great to see this, because under the Biofouling Partnerships project, we have a gender component. So we need to try as much as possible to bring women on board in every possible occasion, such as today, this meeting, you know. So very, very well done. And I just wanted to comment on the video, if you authorize me very briefly, Mr. Chair, because this is an activity that we have conducted in the Middle East and North Africa region. And it was a workshop for women in maritime on biofouling management, as you've seen from the video. And that was really, really, really one of the best activities I ever carried out in my life. Great experience. I think that, you know, it has a lot of impact, this workshop, and it was reported at IMO, and the outcome is very good because we were able to create a new network, the network of women in maritime, in biofouling, sorry. And also we will be organizing a similar workshop in Latin America. This workshop was funded by Saudi Arabia, so it was also, you know, an important sign that was sent out from that region when it comes to women. But I just want to share with you an anecdote, because when on the first day, we went to visit the venue, and there was the meeting group, similar to this one, and there was the restroom. Now, we were only women, speakers were only women, participants were only women. We had only one man from the industry, just because we couldn't find a woman. So all women, one man, and we want to go to the restroom. There is no restroom for women. So we asked the guy in charge, of the setting up of the room, and he tells us, no, if you need to go to the restroom, you need to go on the first floor. This is for men. And so these ladies, get agitated, and they say, what? We're all women. There is only one man, and we have to go up to the first floor. So no, please change the sign. So the guy went, he changed the sign, he removed, the men's sign, he put the women's sign, and it was great. So all this to say that but it's very, it's an anecdote, but it shows what it shows. And I encourage, each of you to, as much as possible, encourage, your colleagues to participate, to nominate female as well in your delegation. I'm not going to preach you the good things to do. You know very well what you have to do to try and help women get into meetings and be more visible and be more open, because sometimes for a woman it's intimidating. You arrive and it's a group of women, you're intimidated. So it's very nice when sometimes, gentlemen are open and let us in the group. So this is my message. Again, congratulations and very well done.
Thank you, Ms. Lily. And I would like to inform that in Indonesia anyway, every year we produce new women seafarers for about 100 women seafarers. So totally now, I think about more or less 700 women seafarers in Indonesia as well. So, yeah. Okay, now let's invite Ms. Amy. Is there any comment? All right.
No, I just like to echo, it was a very impressive list of activities that you have, and just in Surabaya alone, so imagine if how much activities we have in the rest of Indonesia as well. But I just have a practical question for the rest of the countries also, which you can probably answer. So how did you organize yourself? You said you had a lot of networking and partnership in your project, but so what was the role of WIMA in each of these specific activities?
Okay, thank you. All of collaboration we managed by, some of them we were commending, but some of them we have collaboration. So not all, we commend, but some others activities we collaborate with others. So we just divide or change the role. Because we think that we need to echo, we need to articulate the activities. That's why most of activities we need to collaborate with other stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yes, once again from Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And of course, first of all, I would like to congratulate WIMA INA. And I also would like to thank the organizers, particularly DGST, for including in our program this very good presentation. And I'm also happy to hear that there are men in the room who are interested in supporting and welcoming the advocacy and the activities of the women in maritime, and would like to take the opportunity to inform the group that there is also the WIMA Asia. And so far, we have 4 national associations. We have the WIMA Phil, or the Women in Maritime Philippines, the WIMA INA, which is Indonesia. We have WIMA Malaysia, WIMA Timor-Leste, and we hope to have the Women in Maritime Korea, the Republic of Korea, as well as WIMA Maldives. So that is one of the plans of the WIMA Asia, to encourage and help other countries in the region to establish women in maritime associations. And we share the same advocacy. We share our to increase participation of women in terms of formulation as well as implementation. So thank you again, and congratulations to Women in Maritime Indonesia. In particular, the Surabaya chapter. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So there is many a proposal from Filipina, especially for Korean. There is WIMA Korean. Welcome to the association, of course. Well, distinguished delegates, Mr. Dodi, still another comment, please.
Yeah, actually, when we had Women in Maritime Day last year, we had a celebration with the Korean female crew on the international vessel. Yeah, we usually give them a package, the flowers, something like that, to provide appreciation for them. And if I may have requests, Mr. Chair, we would like to invite all amazing women in this room to be on the stage, perhaps to have picture together.
Yeah, why not?
And thank you for all support from men and women. So women support women, and men support women as well. Thank you very much.
Well, of course, we will have time to take photos, but one thing, I have to stay in among of you in the middle, right? But I'm not a woman, of course. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think there will be no more comment regarding to WIMA, and thank you very much for WIMA for the nice presentation. Now we are going to next agenda, since there is no more presentation for today, because the meeting very speed for today, and now still 5 minutes to 16 o'clock. I mean, we still enough time. Actually, we will end of this meeting at 7:40, but now still 16. But we are going to take place for our summary of meeting. Well, for the summary of meeting, I would like to read the summary of meeting. Third Regional Task Force meeting on biofouling management in invasive aquatic species, Sheraton Surabaya Hotel and Towers, 20 to 22nd September 2023. At first day, summary of meeting. First, presentation on status of Biofouling Partnership Project by Dr. Lilia Kojet El-Kil from IMO, that Dr. Lilia presented a comprehensive update on the development of the Biofouling Partnership Project, specifically on the development of biofouling management guideline and strategies at the global, regional, and national level. She emphasized that the devastating impact of IAS on the marine environment economy, resources, and human health is increasingly recognized globally. Hence, the issues of biofouling and IES is now high on the international agenda. She cited the IBBS report on global assessment on biodiversity and ecosystem services, which made on assessment on the status of biodiversity globally and recognized IES as one of the 5 most important direct drivers for biodiversity loss. She also mentioned that the Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework has now included targets specific to IES. It was highlighted that the IMO biofouling management guidelines developed in 2011 has been revised, and the revised guideline includes the guidance for in-water cleaning to be completed in 2025. Lead partnering countries are at different stages in the establishment of national task force, completion of the national status assessment on biofouling management, completion of the nation economic assessment, development of the national strategy and action plan on biofouling management, and awareness raising. The draft regional strategy and action plan on biofouling management was discussed during the second RTF meeting and is envisioned to be endorsed by countries in the third RTF meeting. Recognizing the progress and development of the regional strategy, Dr. Lilia made a call for its endorsement, adoption, and implementation by the countries. Second, presentation on the development of the regional strategies in all regions by Ernest Swanepoel. Ms. Ernesta provided an update on the status of development of the regional strategies in all regions under the projects such as PIRSGA, and then SACEB, CPPS, SPREP, etc. It was emphasized that the regions are at different stages from the drafting of regional strategies up the implementation of action plan. Ms. Ernesta emphasized that when the global fouling project commenced, there was either no or fragmented policy on biofouling management. Most regions made significant progress toward drafting and adopting a regional strategy and action plan in their respective region. Overall, the project was able to facilitate the development of a holistic strategy and action plan either in draft form or being adopted. Third, regional strategy and action plan by Dr. Von Taisin. The final draft of the regional strategy and action plan was presented by Dr. Von Taisin, followed by a statement of endorsement by countries. Countries unanimously endorsed the final draft of regional strategy and action plan. In addition, countries recommended the following. 1. Technical assistance on the conduct of baseline studies on the extent IES and on biofouling management. Second, assistance in developing the national strategy and action plan on biofouling management. Third, experience sharing by lead partnering countries. Fourth, countries develop and implement national strategy and action plan within the capacity and resources of countries. Fifth, promote collaboration among various member states in the implementation of the regional strategy and action plan. Sixth, endorse the regional strategy and action plan to the ASEAN mechanism through the ASEAN Maritime Transport Working Group. Fourth, ASEAN MT Working Group process of endorsement. Ms. Susebin Uransa, IMO Regional Coordinator for Asia Pacific Regional Presence Office, was requested to provide updates at the Assessment MT Working Group. Ms. Uransa informed the meeting that the Philippines presented the strategy during the last ASEAN MTWG meeting and requested the Philippines to communicate with the ASEAN Secretary to include the regional strategy and action plan on biofouling management in the agenda. Indonesia was also requested to present the result of the third RTF meeting and regional strategy and action plan in the next ASEAN MTWG meeting. Now going to number 5, updates from the Philippine athlete partnering countries. Director Ramon Hernandez from the Philippine Maritime Industry Authority presented progress of the Philippines regarding the establishment of the National Task Force, completion of the National Status Assessment, report conduct of National Rapid Economic Assessment, development of National Strategy and Action Plan, among others. Other initiatives of the Philippines were also presented to promote a holistic approach in the implementation of various IMO environmental regulations. 6, updates from the Indonesia athlete partnering countries. Dr. Yanto discussed the result of the rapid economic assessment of biofouling management in Indonesia, indicating the potential impact of biofouling and IES with and without policy on various industries such as shipping, port, aquatic culture, fisheries, offshore mining, recreational boating, and also cost estimates on the implementation of the National Strategy and Action Plan of Indonesia were also presented. And then the last, from Women and Maritime Initiative in Environmental Preservation, initiative of WIMA Indonesia was shared during the meeting regarding environmental preservation in Indonesia. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have read the summary of the meeting. Now, I will open if there is any comment regarding to the summary of the meeting. If there is no comment, or there is no objection, the temporary report of the third RTF meeting on biofouling management and invasive aquatic species is adopted. Thank you everyone for actively participating in today's meeting. And as your information that tomorrow we are going to start at 9 a.m. Before we leave the room, I would like to request DJST to make an announcement regarding to our dinner this evening. And once again, I remind you that we still have enough time to go to the store. We have department store around of this hotel. You can find anything to prepare for this evening dinner. Okay, MC, the time is you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you all participants and speakers for making this day insightful and productive. And kindly be informed once again that we have a special evening planned. Please join us later here in the ballroom at 7 p.m. for the welcome dinner. And we are looking forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you once again and see you tonight. delegates to join us in the photo session. Photographers, kindly stand by.
No, that's because I spent only 2 hours tonight.
Monggo Ibu, silakan.
You sent already? You sent photo?
Yeah. Sure. I did.
The female empowerment, yes, thank you.
Cheese. Belum. Oh, di sana. Oke. Ready? Cheese. Tomatas. Oke. Nice.
So W, can we do this? Okay. So W, sir. Wait for the official photographer. Okay, so this is the paparazzi, ladies. These are the paparazzi. This is the official. We have Koreans who have dispatch. This is dispatch. Okay. Yes, the official photographers. Okay, which gesture we should use? Oh, the formal one. The formal one. Okay. The W, okay. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. See you tonight.
By
So once again, ladies and gentlemen, kindly be informed that the dinner will take place at here at the ballroom at 7 p.m. with the dress code using batik. Sekali lagi Bapak dan Ibu bahwa rangkaian acara untuk welcome dinner akan dilaksanakan pada malam hari ini. Should you need to change the size of your batik outfit that given beforehand, once again, ladies and gentlemen, should you need to change the size of your batik outfit given to you by the committee, kindly contact the committee for the fitted or the right size for you. Kindly scan the barcode on the LED for further information. Once again, you may scan the barcode on the LED for further information. Thank you. This barcode is for the documentation of today's session and also the photo. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you delegates coming from outside Indonesia, should you need to change the size of the batik that you have received before from the committee, kindly contact the committee for the perfect or the fitted size for you. Once again, for those of you delegates coming from outside Indonesia, should you need to change the size of the batik given to you by the committee, kindly contact the committee for the correct or the fitted size for you. And once again, for all guests coming for the welcome dinner tonight, the dinner will start at 7 p.m. here at the ballroom. And the dress code for tonight is batik attire. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please bring along your belongings, laptops, bags, and anything that you carried. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, before you leave this ballroom, kindly bring along all of your belongings, your laptops, bags, as we are going to change this ballroom into a dinner set formation. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, should you need to leave this ballroom, please bring along your belongings, your laptops and bags, as we are going to change the format of the seating arrangement later for the welcome dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to inform you again that all materials and documentation of the RTF, third RTF today can be downloaded by scan this barcode. Once more, you can scan this barcode for download all of the materials and documentation today. Thank you.
allowance for shopping. Shopping at Asian. Asian.
We did.
Ah, already. Yeah, because you arrived early. We arrived very late. So I haven't given any presentation yet, but already good. Yeah. You should prepare your presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Cik. Cik. Cik.
Satu, cik, low, cik, cik,
Bendera diangkut. Hah? Bendera diangkut. Enggak. Bendera kecil. Iya. Semua. Mic diangkut. Semua. No mercy pokoknya. Cik, 1 2 low,
Check, 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 sound, check, check.
Bro, keluaran Maret Maret 2023, Bro. Ngerti ya, Bro? Cocok saya lesih ya.
Setengah itu dari kosan ya.
Hari ini perdana, Bro. PRS.
Anjar masuk ngono, anjar isolasi ya kabeh iki. Satu Selawe. Surat lengkap.
Kilometer dikit. Tapi sekolah. Apa itu?
Aku kelingan lagu ini. Zaman lagune zaman udah sih penyanyi lawas-lawas. Kiki something.
Iya, ya.
Iki lagu senengane Kiki iki. Iki mesti Kiki lagune iki. Go put your records on. Tapi nadane mundur. Tapi nadane mundur. Aku mau tuku softline iki lho.
Tapi kondom. Kayak kondom ini.
Malibu pisan Cai. Lumayan 30.000. Softline.
Kondom motor.
Aku gak ketok moto aku lek ngene ndeloki wong-wong ngono.
Mereknya ya.
Malibu. Lho, citane mau ki ngene kan. Aku tuku loro.
Cili nangis sorry. Malatus. Malibu Malatus.
Citane ono sing mereknya gak apik, tapi regane larang 250 entuk loro. Lah lek sing iki muk 130 entuk loro. Ya aku pilih sing iki.
Short gak? Short ini.
Lumayan lho.
Rolling door ya?
Kalau cairannya besti. Kalau cairannya ya pokoknya. Kalau cairannya lho.
Lo.
Ya Allah. Banyu. Arek iki kakek delok bokep tuh.
Ber.
Iki lho awet. Enak
GT.
awet. Ono petang tahun wis.
Aku duwe iku nison bare, Mbak, ning omah. GT. Pas piye, Bro? Lah, aku nyoba iku pas neng iku, neng apa jenenge? Aku kan tuku nih GT ini. Pas icon kan ono. Ternyata kebujuk ruangan, asu. Aku volume TV ku. Paeknya ya. Sik nendangan politron.
Gak gowo aku. Memang gak gowo.
Thank